Well, Jimmy and Joanne, we're in a bit of a reduced power state right now. We don't have the full power of the Crowdsource the Truth audience because malicious social engineers have attacked the channel, but we soldier on. How are the two of you doing tonight?
Very good.
We're good. We've been attacked too, Jason, but we just continue on. We push through the water.
I know, believe me, there's not too many people around who know more about that than you guys. You've been soft killed, you've been blacklisted, all of your businesses have basically been seized by various entities. People who aren't familiar with Jimmy and Joanne should go over to LibyanWarTheTruth.com and check out their webpage. You can purchase their DVD, Escape from Al-Qaeda. It's a $15 disc and it contains photographs and videos and lots of harrowing stories about Jimmy and Joanne's escape from what would have been certain death at the hands of Al-Qaeda, individuals who were paid. How much were they paid to kill you guys?
They were paid $2,500 a head to kill us, and then $1,000 extra to chop us up and burn us.
I don't know if they could be bothered with all that work. For $1,000,
yeah, well,
there
were seven of us.
Yeah, they did that for. They were paid like that for all the people they killed in Libya.
Yeah.
They were hired mercenaries.
It's really unbelievable. It's a good thing that you had sufficient funds with you to deter them from doing that by basically paying them more money not to kill you. I like that strategy. Jimmy and Joanne are very resourceful in that regard, and I hope that people will go to patreon.com/James and Joanne Moriarty. That's Jimmy and Joanne's Patreon page, and I think this latest effort by these malicious social engineers to shut down what we're doing, I mean, you know, this was a fraudulent claim that was made against us. I've appealed it with YouTube, but I think we know how long that will take. Good news is our viewers on Patreon are going to experience uninterrupted live streaming. Tonight's show, Unseen Libya, will be available on patreon.com/James and Joanne Moriarty, as well as patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth and subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth. So I hope that people will join us over there. Joanne, you've prepared one of your most comprehensive presentations yet. Do you want to give us a little overview of what we'll be talking about once the main show begins?
Well, it's funny how all this stuff comes up. It kind of all melds together right before the show. This happens almost every time. We're going to talk about big corporations and the U.S. military working for those corporations, not for the constitutional United States. And it happened that Trump, came out and said that they were going to take 3 Syrian oil fields. What authority does he have to do that? But they've done that, and the oil will go to Exxon Mobil or BP.
He's going to take over the oil fields and give it to, he said, Exxon Mobil or another corporation, and they will produce it right or something like that. And this is just using our military to steal a sovereign nation's assets for a for-profit corporation. Doesn't benefit the United States at all. So we're spilling our blood, our bravest, for corporations that are not they are for-profit foreign corporations. So this is not a fascist state. This doesn't benefit the government. Doesn't benefit the people of the United States, and it's a real nasty game. And Joanne and I saw this same thing happening in Libya, and it continues to this day. So it's really telling. But gee whiz, if Donald Trump's the best we got, we're in terrible shape. But he's the first guy that has admitted that he's using our military to steal assets from another country for corporations,
bankers, corporations.
So who he's working for.
Somebody wrote on Facebook, well, this is good because he's going to keep the oil from going to Iran. And I thought to myself, that first of all, it's a really stupid statement. But second of all, Iran has plenty of oil. They don't need to steal anybody's oil.
Well,
so, it's just...
it's like saying somebody breaks into your house and steals your money and say, well, that's good. At least another thief won't get it.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, just some people get into their minds. It's just crazy.
But to let you know how bad You had a great show with Ole this morning. I mean, that was absolutely, he was on button with everything, and I think he is absolutely should be receiving all the kudos because he helped get out all the information about the 9/11 for Europe and Seattle and all that stuff. And God bless him because, as everybody should understand, these evil guys are long game players. They've been planning 9/11 in the United States for many, many, many years.
Yeah.
Then they planned this 9/11 for Europe, and as Ole said, there had been 500 top meetings from world leaders from all over the world. Had 500 meetings going on for years to plan 9/11 for the purpose of having the UN Army take over control of all of Europe. And of course, then they would foment all these civil wars because of all the invasion of the illegals in all those countries, and there's so much disruption and everything. So, one checker falls, then the next one, then the next one, then the next one,
Well,
dominoes rather.
Anyway, we're gonna talk about the big corporations, and we're gonna talk about what Jimmy was just talking about. We're gonna discuss some knowledge we have about what's going on in Libya. We're gonna give some updates about Libya, about the fiat money, what's happening there. Some of Jimmy's expertise, he's gonna talk about that. So it's gonna be a great show. There's a great little video that's gonna play, and we look forward to
I recommend everybody look at the video. It's about 3 or 4 minutes. Look at it, listen to our whole spiel tonight, and then go back and listen to it again because it's so apropos and it describes what the illegal forces that have been running our government for a long time, how they've been using our best and bravest for their own purposes, and it's real sad.
Something that needs
to
be discussed.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to smile. I don't mean to smile while you're talking about such a serious subject, but I've just been inspired. I want to see Jimmy do a spoken word album where he speaks Yiddish with a Texas accent. That was excellent enunciation on spiel. I have to compliment you.
That's right.
But in all
work for a
seriousness,
lot of-
we've been having a lot of really amazing shows on Unseen Libya. Last week we had Mufta Faraj join us. He's just been appointed to the head of an important human rights commission there in Libya. And Mufta is somebody that you guys have known for years. We had a conversation with Senator Dick Black about Trump's pullout of Syria. Has that happened? Is it happening? What's going on with the Syria pullout? Do we know?
No, that was all phony.
They went
Really?
into Iraq and turned around and brought a bunch of them back through an illegitimate crossing between, or a closed crossing between Iraq and Syria and into these oil fields. We'll talk about that tonight. And there's proof. The Russians have put out satellite pictures of it. And then
In fact, I think we've got an interview from Assad that is. We had that one.
No, it's a 2-hour.
Subtitles.
It's a 2-hour interview with Assad, and they ask Assad about Baghdadi.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they said, President Trump said, you were involved in it. He says, I knew nothing about it until I saw it in the media.
Wow.
That's what Assad
As
said.
Ole said, Baghdadi's been killed and resurrected, a bunch of times. So, as he said, instant reincarnation must be a reality.
The funny thing, we were talking about Baghdadi, the name, Ole was talking about
Right.
why would they name him Baghdadi?
Right.
And there's a funny story when I was speaking to Claire Lopez, who was ex-CIA, or if there is such a thing, working for the Citizens Committee on Benghazi. And I said, she was trying to tell me Gaddafi was a leader of Libya. And I said, spiritually, he's a leader of Libya, but he didn't run the country. It was run by a prime minister, and they had elected House of Representatives and the General Secretary of the tribes.
He stepped down in 2006.
Yeah, he stepped down. And she said, well, who ran it? And I said, a prime minister. His name is Mahmoud al-Baghdadi. And she said, oh. She said, he's from Iraq. I said, no, he's not. He's a Libyan, goes back thousands of years. See, but she tagged the name. That's what happened.
Yeah.
She tagged the name.
One thing that came up this morning on the show with Ole was there seems to be almost like a title that, or a pseudonym that they take on, this Baghdadi. It's unclear what's going on, but Claire Lopez is tweeting all kinds of stuff here. Interesting. She's certainly into destroying Iran. She's part of, what is this think tank that she's part of? The Public Policy Center for securitypolicy.org. I'm very skeptical of all of these think tanks. I don't know exactly what it is they're intended to do, but it's interesting to explore these sort of things. So we're currently of the opinion that Donald Trump's Syria pullout didn't happen. Do we think that Donald Trump tricked us, or did Donald Trump want to do it and somebody tricked him?
No, he's been Jason, as you know, he's the best we got, but he's pitiful. He's absolutely a sellout. He's a traitor. He works for foreign corporations, and he always has. He was bailed out 5 times by the top Zionists in the United States, and he is their puppet. He's the first openly Zionist president we've ever had, period. Second to that,
you're talking Khazarian Zionists, not
But you have to differentiate. That's part of our task, to let everybody help educate them. But second to that, his foreign policy, he's admitted, is being set by somebody else. He didn't have anything to do with it.
When did he admit that?
They tell him what to do. He does.
He did that months ago.
A couple times.
Yeah,
he's being called on the carpet for his former. He said, I don't have anything to do with that.
He said it was Israel that's setting his foreign policy.
When did he say that?
So
some time ago, maybe a year ago, even. It was less
time than that. But wow. I mean, his foreign policy has been an absolute disaster from top to bottom. And the latest, as Ole said, when the 9/11 for Europe didn't happen, and when Seattle was not going to happen, then all of a sudden he jumps up and he spent 40 minutes pontificating about his murder of Baghdadi, and Obama only did about 5 or 10 minutes on Osama bin Laden. But forget all that. That's not the important thing. When you look at the long game these guys play, and look at the plans they had made in Europe, look at what really happened on 9/11 here, and then you see all these things that are being disclosed about what's going to happen, and they are happening. And California's blacked out without any reason. All of a sudden, fires start all over the place in there, and they've got satellite photos of EMT type explosions. We're not going to talk about that either. But I mean, all these events, the long game these guys play, and all of us are their pawns, and we need to recognize that. And if we want to act as slaves to these folks and sit back and do nothing, then that's it.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about all of this and more when we begin our show on patreon.com/James and Joanne Moriarty, patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, and subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth. That's going to be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, just about 17 minutes from now. People will be able to hear the in-depth show. Just one more thing on al-Baghdadi. It's really weird to me that there's been so much talk about if he's been killed before, but basically nobody has been talking about him being pictured here with John McCain. Why is Trump not talking about that?
Because he's not told to do that.
He's not allowed to do it. But, McCain was with Belhaj in Libya. He's with Baghdadi here, with these leaders of these proxy armies that are built up for the corporations, for the New World Order, to take over these nations that have assets that they want, and then to take the assets, destroy the countries. It's real sad, Jason, that we have this going on, and our military is being terribly abused.
And you look at the Erdogan this last couple of days, he said that Turkey's not a hotel for ISIS and all these other terrorists and everything, that the U.S. is going to have to pay as they had promised, or else he's going to send them to Europe. So, all those. There's a lot of disclosure coming out. Every day we see more and more disclosure.
Yeah, and before you leave right now, Jason, I want you to tell everybody what happened to your YouTube channel, because people are wondering. I still want you to explain it to me better so I understand what happened.
Well, what happened is I've been pursued for 2 years now, as regular viewers will know, by a team of social engineers who are determined to make up lies and attack anything and everything that I do, to put in false copyright claims. There's something called the Communications Decency Act, and Section 230 of that has a thing called the Fair Use Doctrine, where if you are using something in a evaluation and analysis, making commentary on it, using it for news purposes, etc., that's a fair use. Like if I was to report on a car crash and show a Ford logo and talk about how the car crashed, that's a fair use of the Ford logo. If I built a car in my garage and put a Ford logo on it and tried to sell it, that's an infringement of the copyright. So if I use a photograph of a limited purpose public figure that has been posted in public on social media, and I use it to talk about it in a news broadcast, that's fair use. But because YouTube does not get down with due process, or, you know, it's not a court, it's a private corporation that can make its own rules, they have decided that all someone needs to do is just claim that you've infringed on their copyright, and they can clamp down on your business. This YouTube channel is my business. So these malicious strikes that people are taking at it, it's like driving by and throwing a brick at the window of your retail store. It might not end it, but they're trying to disrupt it. They're trying to prevent people from going there, and they want to shut it down, and that's how they operate. So there's no live streaming happening. Sorry.
Is there anything we can do or anybody else can do? Can we complain to YouTube?
I don't think that'll
Because
do
Dr.
it.
Corsi was shut down, but they brought it back up because they had so many people, I think, that complained.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what I've done is I've submitted a counterclaim explaining, as I just did, that I believe what I have shown on that YouTube video is covered by the fair use doctrine, and so YouTube will now review that and decide if that's true or not, and they'll go talk to the complainant and give him a certain amount of time to respond or whatever. So I mean, again, we talk a lot about lawfare and other things. There are things that people can do that can just throw you off and screw you up, and there's a certain amount of time that it takes to get it restored. So in the short term, the best thing that people can do is they can join us on patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth and subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth, where sponsors will enjoy uninterrupted live streaming on those channels. And certainly if they join us there in 12 minutes from now, they're going to be able to watch tonight's episode of Unseen Libya with Jimmy and Joanne Moriarty, simulcast as it always is on patreon.com/James and Joanne Moriarty. It's a great way to support independent journalism and to keep Jimmy and Joanne going, to keep them coming back to Crowdsource the Truth, and to keep their information flowing. So if there are any other questions about what happened to the YouTube channel, I'm happy to answer them, but I think we're just about ready to transition over to our show. We're going to be talking about big corporations, abuse of the U.S. military, illegal destruction, and theft of foreign nations. It's an ongoing problem, and I hope that people will join us there. Anything you guys want to say before we wrap up this YouTube preview?
We're gonna bring in how the U.S. dollar is absolutely going to hell in a tea kettle. How the military is now demanding that their weapons be upgraded to Russian-type pistols and rifles, even with change of ammunition. Military is saying they cannot compete in the battlefield, and we're talking about the soldiers now.
Russia has better rifles than we do?
Absolutely, better pistols and rifles. The military is asking for. In fact, they've already made a demand for a changeover to all Russian pistols and weapons and everything. And when this one general was asked, said, "Why do you want it?" He says, "We can't build anything that good, that cheap, and theirs is better, and ours is smaller caliber, and wind deflects it, and all the reasons why they were selling the 223 caliber in the day, and now they want to go to a 6.8 or something, and two Russian pistols and a Russian rifle that they want to use for U.S. military." We'll talk about that. Yeah. We'll talk about how the dollar's burning down. We're going to give some background and what we know about that. We're going to talk about
some updates on Libya, what's happening there.
Why Tripoli hadn't been invaded. That's a big political mess with influence from all over the world. So we now know why Tripoli hadn't been invaded. Got a big show if we can get through it.
Yeah, and that we will. So people can join us just 10 minutes from now. Patreon.com/James and Joanne Moriarty, Patreon.com/CrowdsourceTheTruth, and SubscribeStar.com/CrowdsourceTheTruth. We'll see everybody there. Huge thank you to our sponsors. We couldn't be doing this show without you. And if you're not a sponsor, please become one. We'll see you in just 10 minutes. Thanks so much, Jimmy and Joanne. We'll see everybody over there.